Hello, welcome, Cabbage here. In War of the Visions, let's look at Kiton and Sasayaki. And it might be a little bit early for this video, but if we look at JP, the next Hatcher release after the Tactics collaboration was this, so we can look at this here. And so this video might be early, but it could be helpful for people who are looking at the Tactics banner, but debating if they should wait for the Kiton Sasayaki banner. I would say more people should go for the Tactics characters, because they're easier to use and maybe easier to gear as well. Both Kitone and Sasayaki, they're sort of for advanced players. They take more building with their equipment and espers and things, and then the things that they do are more specialist as well. So yeah, the majority of players are going to want to go for Ramza or Orlandu instead. But let's look at Kitone first. I don't have her on this account, so we're looking at my friends list. I hope to pull her in Global. But she is main job ninja. That's only the second one after Shadow Links. And then they both have very nice movement abilities, and then good evade as well. And then after the release of Kitone, if it follows JP, we'll see a lot of players start to make evade teams. And then both Kitone and Shadow Links will be sort of necessary, because they have really good evade, and they're the only main job ninjas in the game still. And then if you do decide to go for the all-evade PvP team, then you won't have to use them with a tank, because in theory, Kiton and Shadow Links, they'll be dodging so many attacks that they won't need somebody to draw attacks away for them. But they're kind of a high-risk, high-reward type of unit, because they're probably going to be one hit or maybe two hits before they go down, so you're really going to be relying on evading those attacks. But if you can get the evade really high on your team, they'll be one of the more annoying teams to play in PvP, and then people are going to start working on their accuracy. But main job ninja, we can look at the skills here. It has the usual stuff: shuriken, hide. Here's a self buff that raises evade, and then the 3-hit attack. So this is a great chain builder, or it can also help you complete those missions where you need to get 2-hit element chains or whatever. And then for sub-jobs, Kitone has Soldier and Time Mage, and Soldier is kind of slowly becoming one of my favorite jobs. But for two reasons here in Kitone's case. Here she has Hazard Form. This is her only self-buff that raises her attack in all of her sub-jobs. So if you really want to focus her on attack, then I think Soldier is going to be the best sub-job. Also Paralyze Edge, a little bit of a range. Aspil Force to drain TP. Hazard Spin, this is a small area of effect attack. Hazard Slash, this is a pretty good short-range attack. And then last, the other skill that I really love about soldiers, but this is a Drain Force. And then different Final Fantasies, they have different kind of sorts of attacks that are really special in there. Like in Final Fantasy X-2, status effects are very important in there. But I feel like in War of the Visions, these kind of self-sufficient drain HP attacks are really, really important. And so like Soldier and then Black Mage with their Drain spell, and then also the Tactics characters with their, I forget what it is, Evil Blade or Dark Blade that can drain HP. They're really, really strong. Because you have so few characters in your team, and then also there's the auto battle. So if you have a healer, even if you have a healer, they might be on the other side of the map, or they might be doing something else with their auto battle. So being able to restore your own HP is pretty important in this game. And then the last sub-job that Kitone has is Time Mage, and a lot of people don't talk about this, but it's really interesting for her. A lot of people will use lower rarity characters like Phoebe or Helena because they have the Time Mage job. And that's good for like haste and slow and quick. And so to have that on a UR unit that is very mobile with good evade, that could be really helpful. The one thing about Kitone's Time Mage sub-job is that she does not have quick, which is one of the best skills for Time Mage. But still, that could be an interesting option for her. And then for passive abilities, she has Stemi from Soldier. What was this called? Self-Sacrifice. This will raise her attack a lot, but kind of lower her defenses. I think lowering her defenses is not too big a deal with her, because she's like 1 or 2 hits anyway, and you're relying on her evade. But again, if you wanted to focus on her as a damage dealer, this is kind of necessary for her. And then also here, move and jump +1, we can see that she has crazy mobility here. One thing about the move and jump plus passive abilities, if you kind of mess with these in different combinations and also different positions on the field, you can really sort of affect how the AI will move that character, whether they stay back or whether they rush into battle or whether they go to the left or to the right. So really kind of experiment with that passive skill until you get the character moving in the way that you want it to. And then for equipment good for her, well, we can look at her Trustmaster. This will raise evade, that's excellent for her, speed as well, or agility, that's also good, and then a critical evade, that could also be nice. And then active ability, it's a one-time use, self buff, lowers the chance of them being targeted, and then raises their move and jump for 3 turns, so that's pretty nice. This is an accessory, and it looks like most people can use it. Okay, great. And then this player also has the Kenja no Boshi equipped. This will give you 19 evade if you get the dodge version. And then this is a +5, so it also gives you evade +8. And then the way that equipment works is that it will take only the highest value from these status here. So 19 evade here, and then 12 evade here. So you only get the 19 from the hat, and then this 12 will be ignored. But the, I don't know what you call this, but like bonus up, this will go on top of the 18. So that's the reason why you want to make a +2 or +3 or +5 of the Kenja no Boshi. But actually the Wizard's Hat and then the Circlet, they'll also give you that kind of flat bonus evade. So if you wanted to have a hat that will give you the kind of the double evade, but that's cheaper than the Kenja no Boshi, then you could do that instead. And then Espers and cards good for her. You can raise attack again if you wanted to focus on that. You could do slash damage up or just regular attack up like with Ifrit here. Shiva would also be a good vision card for her because that will raise evade for your entire team. Later after Bineta is released, Bineta will get her own vision card, and that will also raise the evade of your team. So if you don't get Shiva, you can rely on that one instead. Yeah, there it is. Evade up on your whole team. Okay, next let's talk about Sasayaki, and she is one of my favorite characters. But again, like Kitone, she is a specialist, not good for beginners, not easy to use, really reliant on your setup for her. So I wouldn't recommend her for more casual players or beginners. I would recommend that they go for the tactics characters instead. But I knew I wanted Sasayaki even before the game was released. If you looked at the pre-release website, they showed all the characters, and then I knew I wanted all of the units from the Crystal Church, all of those like clones of herself. But main job Knight, so she's good for breaks and then also close range attacks. And so that makes her good for raids because she has the speed break. Let's see, that's on her sub Knight job. So yeah, here, speed break. This will allow you to slow down the boss. And then the way you build chains, you attack in the same element or the same attack type. And then you build up the chain and then you do more damage. But if the enemy acts, moves or attacks or whatever, that will reset the chain. So to be able to slow down the boss, we'll extend the chain, and so that gives Sasayaki a place in raids. She's also a dark element with mostly slash attacks, and then for the first like 4 or 5 months in JP at least, that was almost like a perfect combination because most of the guild battles and arena maps and then raid bosses, they would be weak to one or both of those types. Another sub-job she has is the Mage Knight, and then this is like a little bit of a magic tanking. She has the attract spell here. Does a little bit of damage, but more importantly, it will raise the provoke. So this is an active provoke skill, and I think that it's better than the attract blade because it costs much less AP, so it's much easier for her to cast. And then she can also use it more times per battle, 3 versus 2. So I really like her as a tank, and I've been using her for a tank the last 2 or 3 months, and yeah, she's been a lot of fun, and I've been winning like at least over 50% of the matches, so she must be helping me out there. But also with the Mage Knight sub-skill, she'll get some kind of magic slash attacks. So here's Dark Blade, Dark Ga Blade with a little bit of range, and then Bio Blade. And then here, Magic Resist. This is a self-buff, also can buff your teammates around you, but this will raise your magic resistance. And then speaking of resistances, this is maybe her most defining characteristic. But yeah, 30% against all the physical damage, and then 40% against magic. And then no element weaknesses. That's very cool. But I think her magic and then her light resistances, this is raised from one of her passive skills being buffed, which I have maxed out, I think, so I think she does have natural weakness to light, but that can be covered. And then stop resistance, and then don't act. So stop, actually, that's going to be kind of a annoying ability going ahead, just because so many of the tactics characters have stop. And then the last sub-job that she has is Samurai. And then this is good for slash attacks, some of them at range, like Hien here. And then also she has a evade self buff. Let's see where that is. Yeah, here's an evade self buff. It'll also affect the characters next to her, so she could maybe take part in your evade team. Although, like I said before, if you are using an evade team, you don't need a tank, just because the characters should be able to take care of themselves. The biggest con to her, she has 2 big cons, low HP and low attack. That's enough to scare away most players, and I think most players say that she's like one of the worst URs in the game. But if you really build her, you can get her HP over 3000, and so with all of these resistances, she'll be pretty beefy. She takes a lot of attacks, and so she can really, draw the attention to her away from the other characters. And there's actually been a number of PvP battles that I've been in where she's my last character standing, but she's so tough that she'll still be walking around and then taking down guys and will win battles for me, so she's fun to use. One other maybe minus point for her is that she can only use helms, armor. She can't use clothes or hats, so using hats to raise evade, not going to be an option. And then a lot of the clothes, if you get it to like +2, +3, that will give you magic resistance. So you can't equip that to raise her magic resist and make her a better magic tank. But later on with the Warrior of Light, the Final Fantasy I collaboration, there will be the Armor of Light, and this will greatly raise both your spirit and your magic resistance. So if you do want to use Sasayaki, be sure to pick this up. And then last we can look at her Trustmaster. Raises your TP, that's kind of cool for an accessory. And then it will raise all of your resistances to all attack types by 5%. So this is kind of a cool Trustmaster. The active ability is not good for her though. It takes away from her own HP and then raises the defense and spirit of somebody. It could be herself, could be another character. I haven't gotten this yet, so I haven't tested it. If the amount of HP that it gives away is very low, then it might still be worth using, but if it's anything like 10 to 20% or higher than that, then I would not recommend using this. Okay, I think that will do it for the look at Sasayaki and Kitone. Again, for beginners or casual players, I would say skip this banner, go for tactics instead. But for people that are interested in like very specialist characters, fun characters, underrated characters, then I could recommend these two. Alright, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again. Take care.